It is that time once again where we have to do a double feature. A lot of movies are coming out in this April weekend, and it's insane. I wanted to get caught up. I was behind on a couple things, horror related things I was kind of behind on, but I finally managed to watch two movies that I was super interested in. The first one, Pope's Exorcist. We'll get to that. Before we get to that movie, let's talk about Evil Dead Rise, the latest attempt at an Evil Dead relaunch. And this is a relaunch, a reboot, a retelling, a reimagining. It takes the premise of the Book of the Dead and just says, well, what if it was buried underneath an apartment? That's the premise. And then Evil Dead happens. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing about this Evil Dead movie. I can't remember a time at the movies that I've enjoyed more than this. I loved every single second of this moment, watching everything happen on screen, every single character beat, every single choice made behind the camera, in front of the camera. It sold me 100%. This is a fantastic, beautiful, well-crafted, handcrafted piece of horror cinema that I would show to anybody. It's brilliant on every conceivable level because the pitch premise is so simple. You are familiar with The Evil Dead. Well, now we're doing it in an apartment complex with a mom and her kids, and then the aunt comes to visit because she's feeling a little down on her life, and then things happen where The Evil Dead happens. It is the perfect blend of every single thing you love in the Evil Dead universe. The horror and practical effects and use of blood are next level insane. It is so visceral, so poignant, so grotesque, frightening at times. Like, there are certain moments where I'm like, wow, we're really using a lot of effects for this scene, and it's terrifying, and it's working, and it's effective. We're so happy. We're just smiling through all this craziness, and every single actor is just committed to this bit, and that's something that Evil Dead does really well, is just getting people who know what we're doing. The balance of tone in this movie is very fascinating because it knows it's a movie, if that makes sense, where it's like, okay, you have expectations for an Evil Dead movie. You know it's going to be kind of scary, you know it's going to be kind of silly, but we're going to just like leave you with that feeling of completion. And it knows how to strike that chord. I'm laughing at moments being made. I'm cringing at moments being made. I'm seeing decisions and actions happen in real time, and I'm like, oh, this is terrifying. This is smart. This is stupid. I'm feeling for every character. I'm loving when characters get hurt or injured. I'm on board with every single moment happening in this film. That is so rare. It strikes the perfect blend of like the classic Raimi Army of Darkness. We're a goofy cartoon, blah, blah, blah. Let's beat up Bruce Campbell a bit. With the, your mother died in front of you, you are having a traumatic experience, you're not going to be okay of it all. It does that perfect with callbacks to everything that came before it, while still being like, we're doing something new. And it does that perfectly. Now, I gotta talk a little bit about like some of the choices made with the camera work and the sound design. When I tell you, I have never had such a beautiful, powerful sound experience in a theater, I mean it. The way that my cinema, and maybe it was just like what mine is, but this feels like something you can only feel in like a cinema or a theater experience. The way the sound echoes around the room when like a cable is snapping, or you're hearing like the voices of the books bouncing off the walls. Nothing's been done like that in years. Like I have never sat in a theater, heard things bouncing at these different directions from the sound production of the cinema, and been like, this is authentic, this is great, I feel like I'm part of something. It feels like that inclusive feeling without it pushing you into like, your seat's rotating. It's like, whoa, that cable's going around the whole cinema, and I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. Aside from that being perfect sound design, the uses of song are fantastic, the uses of sound effects are fantastic. It's been a long time since I was just sitting in a cinema being like, I've never seen sound this good. At every single point of sound, every sound effect hits so well. I know it was hitting well because the people I saw the movie with were commenting on that too. Like, wow, the sound was really good. When somebody who's a casual fan of this kind of cinema notices the sound is really good, that's when you know something was up. I was having a visceral experience listening to the sound of this movie. insane, so well done. Watch it with surround sound if you have to watch it at home, because it is creative and crazy in all the good ways. You don't do it like this anymore, you know? It's so bizarre and so great. And even just like, it's a low budget movie. We don't have like, $50 million we're playing with. We're playing with something very low. What it does is impressive because the camera movements are so stiff and stoic. There's like some fisheye lens stuff going on. We're shooting on real sets to make things look bigger or smaller when we need to. I'm blown away. I'm blown away that this movie, with a smaller budget than huge, massive productions, looks and feels more cool and well-adjusted than anything with like $100 million to it. You're telling me we can get like 20 to 30 million, pump it into this type of movie, and it's going to compete with the best like high-budgeted films ever? That's impressive because the sets are incredible. The use of makeup and effects are incredible. The camera work blows my mind. Like, it is so clearly a person's vision of like, you're claustrophobic, you're trapped in an apartment. You're going to be looking through the hole, like the peephole. I don't know what you call that, on like a door to look at somebody. You're going to be seeing hallway shots that are intense and scary. The freaking elevator, every time you see it, its doors just close and open, and it's like this really intense, thrilling thing that feels like, this might just be what I got out of it. It feels like you're on like a roller coaster or like a haunted mansion type of ride. It is so scary. It does that well and plays with that perfectly. And I do think a lot of the credit for that comes from our lead characters. We have a mommy, we have an aunt, and we have 3 kids. Now here's the thing I love about this right away. It is so perfectly modern. These kids all have modern aesthetics. They look like they are growing up in this generation. One of them wants to go to a protest. One of them wants to be a DJ. The other one's a child who wants to be cool and creepy. And their mom's a tattoo artist. And their aunt travels with like I guess a band and fixes their guitar. Cool biker chick punk rock ladies just wearing black and shorts and have tattoos all over them, just getting covered in blood and screaming for their lives. I love every second of it. I love these hot mamas just kicking ass, taking names, and fighting some cool shit. Oh, it's so cool. I love every second of it. Lily Sullivan, who plays the aunt, is kind of like the Ash character in this movie. I'd follow her to the ends of the earth. What she is put through and what she does is incredible. So incredibly fun and unique. And I just like seeing her just kick ass. It's so incredible. I love when a character can just like come fully formed, show up into this world, and then exist, and we're here for it, and it works well, because that's what this character did, and that's what she did in this movie. Alyssa Sutherland plays the mother. She is the one that kind of gets Evil Deaded, and the makeup is great. The way they film her is great. The sound effects when they film her is great. The voice is great. It's terrifying in a way that Evil Dead hasn't done. And that's a really cool thing to see. It's so wholly unique. And these kids are really cool. They all have distinctive moments. They all do some interesting stuff. I'm here for it. It's like a solely modern idea for a horror movie. An apartment, a single mother, her kids are out in the world doing things for themselves. And then what if an Evil Dead just happened? It's incredible how well it is filmed, how gorgeous it looks, what we did with the budget, what we did with the effects. You are not going to have a better time at the movies. Like, this is one of the best experiences I've had all year watching a movie. I'm not going to say it's my favorite film of the year, but just sitting in that theater with an audience who is interested in this, having everyone around you react to the sound design, to certain camera movements where we hold on a hallway for so long, seeing how people react to children freaking out at moments, nothing else like it. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you take a concept that has been existing for a long time and flip it on its head and make something new. And that's what you do. An Evil Dead, hey, it made its budget back already. I'm sure we're going to be getting another one at some point. So, Evil Dead Rise, I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now let's switch gears for a second because we just talked about an incredible experience at the movies. Let's talk about The Pope's Exorcist. This is a Russell Crowe-led film about what's his name, Gabriel Agarth Armach, something like that. It's based on a real guy, and he was the exorcist for the Pope in like the 80s to the 2010s. And I guess this movie is based on like the files of his life working there. This movie is insane. Do you know how, like, if you see like a stand-up bit, certain comedians would have like a movie they'd reference because they're like, well, I just saw this movie the other day and I gotta tell you, it's insane. This would be my movie if I was like doing stand-up and I had to do like a bit about a movie. I'd be like, did you guys ever see like this Pope's Exorcist movie? It's Russell Crowe playing a real guy based on events that happened in this guy's real life. And it's just the most insane thing you've ever seen. I'm not going to tell you it's great, okay? The acting is rough at times, the script needed a couple more passes, and it's shot very simplistically. If you've seen William Friedkin's The Exorcist, when they do the exorcism stuff, it literally looks just like that movie. There is no creative liberties being taken from this director in any capacity in that idea. But I guess that's just what it's trying to do. It's not trying to break the mold, it's just trying to be the mold. It's weird that way, but that's not the stuff that's the weirdest about this. Okay, I'm going to spoil The Pope's Exorcist for you because nobody went to see this, and I'm just going to tell you now, don't watch it in a theater, wait till it comes home to you, and just dream about a world where we have 1 million of these, because I just left the theater being, if they made 100 of these movies, I'd see them opening night because they are bizarre. There is this child. Well, actually, we should go back further. This mother gets this mansion because it's like the last thing that her husband owned before he died, and it's like an old church that was used by the Catholic Church hundreds of years ago. And they like start knocking down some stuff to renovate it. They open up like this weird tomb, and suddenly her youngest is possessed. That leads the Pope. The Pope himself summons Russell Crowe to be like, you gotta go to Italy and deal with this because this kid is possessed. There's a weird theme in this movie that is just, man, today's priests don't understand like what we had to do during the war. I'm like, what are you talking about? What a weird thing to throw in here. So Russell Crowe, he heads to Italy. This kid's possessed. And it's the same bullshit you've seen in every Exorcist movie. That's fine. But what it leads to is some of the most insane shit you've ever seen. There is like a secret dungeon underneath this castle. And in it is like somebody who was possessed, chained up, and their skeleton is housing a key to unlock the secret door that has the potential to lead you to a gateway to hell. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's a gateway to hell in this castle, and there's like, God, what's the demon's name? There's like a specific demon of like the 200 fallen angels that they reference that is like the one who like was banished in this castle. So that is like the demon that is like possessing the kid. And what we find out throughout this movie, again, there's nothing I have to say about the camera work, the writing, the lighting, or the acting. It's all mediocre to bad. But this film implies, again, this is based on real stuff that happened through this guy's life, that the Spanish Inquisition was an event, was a situation that was spearheaded by the devil, and the Catholic Church covered it up. They knew it was the devil doing the Spanish Inquisition, but they covered it up. If that truth got out, it'd destroy the world. So, this demon was responsible for the Spanish Inquisition, and he wants to fuck up Exorcist. And there's only one left, and it's this guy named Russell Crowe, and he's doing that. And in order to fight this demon, him and this other younger priest have to, like, renounce their sins. So he talks about a moment where he was going to help this woman who he thought was like just crazy and he couldn't do anything, but then she killed herself, and because he holds the regret for letting this young woman die, He thinks he's responsible for all of like the infidelity and pedophilia of the Catholic Church because he could have saved her. And now the punishment is, look at the bad things these other priests did. And I'm like, whoa, dude, that is some insane shit. And again, this movie is out in theaters. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We just saw Evil Dead Rise, which is like, the devil's playing games with you. And this one's like, I'm gonna torture this kid because you're all fucking assholes. It's insanity. It's insanity. They do save the kid. Everyone's happy in the end. The church is like, well, we have to condemn that building or we're gonna use it again, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. This movie ends. This fucking movie ends. It's the best ending of any movie I've ever seen, probably. The Pope is like M from James Bond, and the Pope's Exorcist is like James Bond. He's like, here, let me take you to Q, and we're going to show you all the gadgets for your next 199 adventures to find the other 200 demons that are potentially living in these churches we used like years ago. And I'm like, I'm sorry? We literally walk into a room with 2 new exorcists, and they're showing you like these biblical gadgets that you can use to fight other demons. I want 199 of these movies. That is an insane, ballsy choice that this movie's making. A few things. Russell Crowe is having fun. The Catholic Church does not look good when this comes out. They're not the heroes, they're like the fucked up people in it. I can't believe somebody's playing the Pope and he's just like, your next mission, angels. I'm like, oh my god, like, what is happening? This movie might not be perfect, but I had an absolute blast watching it because I couldn't fathom that anybody at any level of studio executive was like, you know what we should do right now? We should make the next, franchise based on a real life guy who worked for the Catholic Church. It's the perfect idea. What if we made a movie about the bad boy of the Vatican? I'm like, why would you think that's anything anybody wanted? And it's true, nobody wants this, but I'm here to tell you, this is an insane way to spend a couple hours. Because you think you know what's going to happen, and then like, actually, the devil's more powerful than you realize, and the church has been hiding his relevancy for years. Young priests that work in the Vatican don't actually believe the devil's real, but you and me, who fought in the war, who watched our brethren die at the hands of the Nazis, we know the devil is real. What the hell are you talking about? It's weird, but it's fine. Like, I think Evil Dead Rise is cinema magic, and it's something that's going to be hard to capture again. The Pope's Exorcist is just insanity. I like both of them, but The Pope's Exorcist, I'm going to give a 5 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.